What is going on, everybody? It is episode 776 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with a guest host today. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, crisis actors. You know me. Let's go.
Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
I am Phil Labonte, the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary, and I'm here to irritate the chat. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, chat.
That's exactly what he's here today, too. That's we were talking about it before the show got started. Right? You had stuff to say before the show got started?
Not about these guys, about the IRL chat.
Yeah, well, everybody knows about the IRL chat. The IRL chat. Just swimming in the sewer of the IRL chat. How do you read it
incredibly trolly they are. They're just like, whatever we can say to get a reaction.
Do you read it when it's live?
Not all day. Okay. Like, mostly I'm kind of on X because looking at things that people on X say, because X is a little more representative of reality. The chat, like I said, the chat in the IRL chat is very much people looking to, S-post and get a reaction and stuff.
As one does.
Whereas the Twitter, what's going on in Twitter, like if there's news, like it'll pop up in my feed and stuff. So if there's anything that's part of what we're talking about, it would present itself on X more.
All right. And to my right, introduce yourself, bud.
Hi.
That's it. Nobody's helping me here today, guys. No. Everybody's giving me these half-baked intros.
No, hi. I'm Andrew. I'm the IT guy here.
He is. He's usually upstairs being bothered when we're getting crisis parties. So you should bother him live today.
No, I actually migrated over to the other studio building so I could be there, like, if Tim has an issue in the morning.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. If you don't know, easier. Like, the geography of this place, we're up the driveway from the other building. Or down the driveway? I guess we're down the driveway.
Around the bend.
Yeah. So, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Mary will be back tomorrow. She's feeling under the weather today, so that is why you've got boys. Exactly, guys. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. If you weren't paying attention, it was the Super Bowl yesterday, so we are required by law to talk about things that happened during the halftime show and, some of the commercials, which we will get into. Of course, Kendrick Lamar did the halftime show. You got everything from people saying that it was a brilliant piece of art to other people. I think the Daily Mail referred to it as the worst halftime show of all time. I think that's a little bit of a hyperbole, but there was a lot of discussions going around on X on their takes on the Super Bowl, halftime shows, rap music in general.
Do you feel like Kendrick Lamar is he well known enough to entertain everybody, or is it still, even though I know that he's very famous in a specific sense, genre, right? Yeah. But is he famous enough to where everybody can be like, oh yeah? Does he have any breakthrough hits? Because I don't know. I know there's that one song that he kind of alluded to real quick and then played at the end that I'm familiar with, but I don't feel like he has any songs that are like big enough to be considered breakthrough where everybody knows it, I
mean, half the Humble album was basically topping the charts for like years after it was like
but dropped. I think of him as like less than like, this is just my personal opinion. Me and Olivia were discussing like big artists as they relate to streaming, and one of the artists that I kept listing that was on top of pop charts was The Weeknd, who she didn't really think of as in that breath of a lot of these other bigger pop stars. Obviously The Weeknd isn't necessarily what you'd call pop music, but it's pop, hip-hop, pop, rap, right? So I was like, but every time I see Spotify records getting broken, his name is attached to it, and he's had extreme longevity in that industry. But the point is, I actually think, so my point would have been that no, but that's because they were in New Orleans and Lil Wayne was like right there. They could have just had Lil Wayne do it.
So you what's the consensus? You think that he does have enough crossover music where like people that aren't into rap and into pop would know it? And the reason I say rap and pop is because they really kind of are just like, even if he did top the charts, it's nothing that gets into people that listen to country.
No, that's for sure. But so how I look at it as more so like I wouldn't put it past the NFL to want to like reach out to younger viewers and try to.
Well,
build
we'll talk about it when we'll talk about it when we get into the topics. We got 220s here very quickly.
Oh wow, look at that! So not so secretly based says pop culture crisis party. Let's go.
It says Phil. It says Phil culture crisis party.
Phil culture. My bad.
That's even better.
I read it too quickly. And then Pat the plumber says, Brett, can you pull up Kanye's website for everybody?
No.
Look, I had to actually go through the post.
What's his website? I'm going to look.
It's just Yeezy, I think. But there's like I don't actually know what the rules are on YouTube for.
It's better not. If it's
Do you know what I mean?
If
Like,
it's still that image, it's better not to risk it.
That was real?
It's the only item.
Swazi?
It's the only thing for sale on his website. But we're gonna talk about that too, guys. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into. Not just that. Obviously, Donald Trump was trolling.
That's hilarious.
Donald Trump was trolling Taylor Swift because he got cheered and she got booed at the game yesterday. So we're going to talk about that. Also later in the show, we are going to talk about a couple of the ads that were particularly bad. You guys know my my hatred of the word woke, but if I was to give a word for the flag football ad, it would have been that word. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about Kanye deactivating his X account. The bender is over. So we're going to talk about that. I want to get into a little bit more about how conservatives used it as a point to talk about the banning of porn on X, which was something that was coming up in the last week or so. Also, I do want to talk about how Superman's marketing has failed. I understand that this is niche right now, and I'm out on an island on this one. As all of our analytics tell us, people have cared about me talking about Daredevil. They cared a little bit about Fantastic Four. Nobody in our audience seems to care about Superman, but I love DC, so watching them fumble the marketing so bad is particularly annoying for me. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are ready, let's go. Phil, you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started. And let's start with Kendrick Lamar. So we actually just got into it a little bit there. I want to get into the fact that yesterday during the halftime show, he gave his live performance. And I saw a bunch of discussion back and forth from everyone. And they had takes everything from this is the worst halftime show ever to people saying this was subtle, social justice conscious art that was actually a win. I would be interested to know what you guys thought.
I hated it.
You hated it.
Yeah, I thought it was bad.
Okay.
And the reason why I thought it was bad is I don't think that Kendrick Lamar has the juice to be entertaining to everybody. Right?
That is, I mean, the number one take seemed to be that, you know, even when they had rap before, it was somebody like Dr. Dre who has powerhouse level stardom.
So like I said, hey, you should have Metallica, right? And I've said this multiple times. Metallica's never done it. They're the biggest. They're one of the biggest bands in human history, like ever at all, right? Crossing genres. Yeah. Whether you're into metal or not, there are multiple Metallica songs that almost everybody in the United States knows. Like they've just become a part of pop culture. So I said have Metallica, and a lot of my All That Remains fans and metal fans, because I have a lot of followers that are metal fans, they'll hit back with it should be Slayer, it should be a Testament, it should be blah blah blah, and they're like no Five Finger Death Punch. And while I respect that what they're saying is they're saying I really like these bands and I think these bands should get more attention, and I respect that. My point in saying Metallica is Metallica's not just a metal band. They're part of American culture now. It would be like if we said, let's get Van Halen, right? So I know that obviously Van Halen, you know, but God rest his soul and everything. But like Van Halen transcended rock. They were an American. They were the quintessential American band for 30 years, you know. And I still think there are very few bands that encapsulate American rock and roll the way Van Halen does. So. And they're like my favorite band ever. Yeah. Well, one of my favorite bands ever, and I love everything about them. But the point being, I appreciate that there are people that are like, I would like to see this thing or this band more. But the reason I say Metallica is because they transcend, and I don't think that Kendrick Lamar does that.
It's like when you mentioned Slayer. It's like we went around the table one time, and you were like, "What is everybody's favorite Slayer song?" I'm like, "The only one I know is Raining Blood."
Yeah.
As with a lot of people, I'm sure that's
and even
true.
Rain in Blood, most people only know dun 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 na 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 dun 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 na 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 na. And if you get to the next part, is like as soon as the song starts, when it gets into the fast part, no one knows what it is.
With a lot of those songs, people knew them in my generation because they were in skate videos. So that's how you came to understand.
And also the riff in Rain in Blood, it is super memorable, right? Dun 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 na 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 na.
One of the critiques that they had of the performance was that the audio mix was bad, that it was really okay. So I thought it was like, okay, so I was listening to it with like captions on because I listen to everything with captions on. So I have to because I'm deaf in one ear. It was low and it was garbled in a lot of ways, but I guess to me, when I'm watching the halftime show most of the time,
audio was bad, but the audio is usually bad.
But say when I'm watching the halftime show, I'm actually, ironically enough, more paying attention to the visuals that I'm seeing there, because conservatives in these days are looking for satanic imagery in literally everything when they watch these shows, which I did not see anything of, which is became a line of contention because a lot of people were having a back and forth as to the red, white, and blue imagery was pro-America. I don't really think that was necessarily true. I think that there's plenty of critiques, which I will go through some of them here in a little bit about, it's a critique of the system. It's the critique of how African Americans have been treated in the country, which is fine, because what I think about is like, this is what I think of when I thought of like the term woke in 2010 to 2012, which was socially conscious art that had a focus on it. And in this case, I think the critique is mostly that it just seemed very the critique seemed very muddled and nobody really knew what to make of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't give me your thoughts on it yet.
I mean, like, audio mix definitely, like, I don't know. It seems like they were having technical difficulties or something. Like a whole like.
I mean, they have to set the thing up in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, live production sucks in general, especially when you, have like that amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad just for that. I mean, I thought it was a good performance.
I mean, he did literally like dunk on Drake and then bring out both of his exes, which is next level petty.
The only people that know any of that are people that are deep in the weeds and deep in the lore. Yeah. The American people don't know that.
They got a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, having produced and directed a lot of live television, I thought the pregame and the game itself was extremely well done with virtually no mistakes. The halftime show put me to sleep. Yeah, that seemed to be the number one take from a lot of people. Also, then I did see a lot of people. It turned in, and again, I'm basing this on you're following along on X, which is always a shit show. But then it devolved into people asking about like, well, what's the point of rap music, and is rap even music? Which I always kind of cringe at just a little bit.
Yeah, that's like the okay, calm down, Tipper Gore.
Well, I mean, or Ben Shapiro, like he doesn't do the rap music. And I love a lot of rap, but the rap that I'm into is the stuff that was the West Coast.
Ice Cube,
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. I mean, nowadays it's considered classics.
Death Row Records.
Yeah, Death Row Records. But Eminem, it's all like old. Like it's literally like it would be considered classic.
I mean,
rock
but those
now.
are that's so sad. That's sad. If I went
90s clothing is vintage now.
Yeah. I'm just going to go through some of the takes here. So CJ Pearson says, I know I can't be the only one who enjoyed the halftime show, right? It was patriotic, fun, and surprisingly not woke at all.
Brother.
And then Amala Akpanobi. Well, I like this. She says, I love the halftime show. I was at a bar where hundreds of people were screaming the lyrics, and every bar down the block had a TV available, had the same thing going on. America knows Kendrick. I'm not sure what everyone else is talking about. She then says, I will unpack the halftime show on my channel today so we can go over some of the messaging and symbolism. So it wasn't lost on her that there was symbolism to be featured in there. And if you guys don't know, these were some of the critiques. If you didn't watch it, it opens with Uncle Sam, literally played by Samuel L. Jackson. It says, so this was some of the critiques of what was done. Thank you.
Ooh, new song.
Sadly, Mary is not here to like her suitcase. Phil doesn't like this one. It's very sad. Okay. So these were some. It says Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, aka his character from Django Unchained. Samuel L. Jackson warning Kendrick to play the game white America wants us to play and not be ghetto. The Squid Game stage, which symbolizes the rich killing the poor. Actually, it was a it was a PlayStation stage, if I remember correctly, which
That
just
was
seems
sick.
like soulless product placement, but that's just me. The dancers in red, white, and blue representing the American flag, where he then literally walks down the middle of it, a divided flag, if you saw the imagery. The stage is also being a prison yard where his black performers harmonized while he rapped, protecting black women like Serena after the disrespect from Drake. I mean, I don't think that was about protecting her. I think it was about slapping him down. I think that was nothing more than pro-level pettiness, which I can appreciate. And once again reminding Drake and America that they're not like us. There's a lot of critiques that people went through, and I think the point is that art, when it's done well, can be interpreted a lot of different ways. But then it becomes a question of, was it to be interpreted a bunch of different ways, or was it just a bad job of getting your message across to the audience? I also wonder how much people actually believe in deep messaging about the resistance, which he's kind of signaling at the beginning of this, when he says the revolution will be televised, when you're literally on the Super Bowl. You know, it's very hard to be like you're against the machine when you're literally part of the machine.
The left has no capacity, or left-leaning things have no capacity. They have no idea how to act when they're in control, which is exactly why you hear things like the revolution is eternal when it comes to like socialist government and stuff. They're like, oh, it's like they're counter-revolutionary forces, right? Yeah. If they're fighting against the government of Cuba, they were counter-revolutionaries. If you're fighting, if you're against the Chinese Communist Party, then you're counter-revolutionary. But how can you be the revolution when you're in control? The left has no ability to create a narrative where they're actually in control. So they that's part of the reason why there's so much cognitive dissonance when it comes to like leftists in power. They don't know how to imagine themselves in a situation of power, so they have to say things that just don't make sense.
There's a 20 here from Just Cause I'm Free. Says, not really a fan of Kendrick's. I've heard the name but never really listened to him, but I'm 100% for the public shaming of fans of the playground on the part. Oh yeah, I think he's talking about pedophiles.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
what the right seemed to glom onto in this. Is the left looked at it as a social protest focused around race relations, and the right took to his criticisms of Drake as condemnation of pedophilia.
The left, well, that is the lens that the left sees everything through, though. They don't have the ability to see things in a different dynamic. It's always the same.
I saw this one. It says, I'm pretty sure the message in this show was that Satan lost and the children will no longer be harmed. It was an overall message to let satanic Hollywood elites know their time is up and the game is over. I did not get that at all. I think that's...
I got the woke thing.
Yeah. Kendrick literally protested and taunted America in front of the president during America's biggest sporting event. That's more what I took from it. But I guess that's kind of the point of art, right? Is that you can see it two different ways. And this was also something that I was noticing in some of the rah-rah commercials that were being done. There was a couple of them there that were just vague talks of patriotism related to Jeep. And I'm like, but that's the thing. I miss those days when back in the day when Hollywood would virtue signal, it would be virtue signaling for all in the most vague and ineffective way possible. Yeah. But at least it was all encompassing. That is not what I saw here, at least not from this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what I took away from it. What you said, was it Spike Cohen's take that you said you liked?
Yeah, he just was he was funny about the way that he said he didn't watch it, which is fine. You know, I mean, if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. And like you'd mentioned, it's kind of like
I rolled my eyes.
Yeah,
they want to engage with it without actually engaging with it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I feel like if you're a person that comments on culture or you know, if you're on the internet as a commenter or whatever, you're kind of obligated to at least have a take on things. I feel like most people are kind of obligated. So if that's his take, fine. The thing that I like the most about it is I liked his jeans. I like the fact that he had kind of bell bottoms.
Are you kidding me?
In fact, if you go and you look at early All That Remains videos, like the first 6 or so, all that remains videos, I'm wearing a very similar pair of bell-bottom jeans.
I looked at that and I said, the real question is, are those bell bottoms or are those
are bell bottoms?
Are those boot cut? Or are they boot bottoms?
Well,
they were like
I mean,
halfway between the two.
That's the same thing. Bell bottom, boot cut, whatever. Because boot cut was essentially just a little bit of a flare so you can slide your boots in.
These were not a little bit of a flare.
Those were bell bottoms.
There was a lot of flare there. I think my favorite take that I saw was the part where he's really taunting Drake and walking around like this. He said it's real Bugs Bunny energy. Like he's about to turn a rifle around on Elmer Fudd. That made me laugh. It's like that's the type of commentary I wish I was capable of, because as soon as he said it, it made perfect sense to me, but I would have never been able to come up with that. So, all right, let's move on then, guys. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into with the Super Bowl, which was, look, there was a lot of discussion back and forth about whether it was a good idea for Donald Trump to even attend the Super Bowl, given the fact that Doge is a big discussion right now, and it's going to cost millions of dollars to send him there. But from what I saw, he got a very, very strong reaction in the clips that they showed of him. And of course, Taylor Swift got booed, which led to a bunch of trolling from a bunch of people, including the president, who included clips of both himself and her because he can't help himself. And I love it.
The fact that it took 47 presidential terms to get to a point where the president would attend the Super Bowl is actually astonishing to me.
Why?
Well, this is the first Super Bowl that a president's attended when it's America's sport. I feel like the World Series is a bigger one, because I feel like the World Series, like baseball is America's pastime, though I understand that it's different. Yeah, but even so, like these grand events, right? Like, if you want to, like, I don't know, in my opinion, if you want to be like a president of the people, you have to live amongst the people. Yeah. You have to, do things that they would do, whether or not you're, I mean, of course he was in a fucking skybox with, Secret Service.
Yes.
But, at least he was there.
Here's what he said. He said, the only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving.
I will forever... well, no, I don't. I'm not going to defend Taylor Swift. She doesn't need someone to defend it. But everybody criticizing Taylor Swift, like they're only doing it because for political reasons. And I continue to believe that we should do our best to avoid dragging politics into everything. Not saying that Taylor Swift didn't do that. She comes out and she endorsed Biden. I get it. I understand. And Donald Trump is going to take that personally. I get it. I understand. But I'm not going to hate Taylor Swift just because she has politics that I don't like. There are a lot of artists that have politics that I don't like. I hate Rage Against the Machines politics, but when like Bulls on Parade comes on, I'm still listening to the song. When almost any Rage song comes on, I'm still listening to it because I like their music. I'm not going to become that guy that is going to hate everybody that has different politics and only listen to like Tom McDonald because he aligns with me. I'm sorry. Just not happening. That is not going to happen. And I'm not even knocking Tom McDonald. I'm just saying that
you can't box yourself in. Like,
I'm not
had this conversation a lot before. It's like, look, when you only interact with the art with the people that agree with you, you end up screwing yourself out of a lot of great art. That's the problem. If I only watched movies of people that agreed with me, I'd be watching nothing but Jon Voight movies, and that's great. But there's a lot of other artists that make movies that I want to watch, and that's fine. I did see that a lot. So what I noticed was like, when she got booed, people tried to connect it to like Travis Kelce. And then by de facto, or like from Taylor Swift to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, which is another big story right now. It's like, this is my thing, so I have to make it about that thing. Or then they even made it about Travis Kelce fails, therefore it's because he said it was an honor to play in front of Donald Trump, therefore he deserved to lose, which is just them form-fitting a bunch of different narratives around somebody so that they can dunk on them. And I was not a huge fan of like, look, maybe a lot of people just didn't play sports, but they were like dunking on Travis Kelce for losing. And I'm like, does the dude dress like a dork? Yeah, but a lot of people who show up to the Super Bowl wear ridiculous outfits. It's part of the culture in the NFL. And then they're mad when he's upset that he lost. Like I think it was like Jack Posobiec said, he's acting like a man-child. I'm like, no, he's a high-level athlete who just worked all year to win and didn't win.
I completely agree that, like, I wish that professional football players would dress like adults. I think that when they dress like clowns, it's bad. Like, I think they look ridiculous. And just because they're, Dennis Rodman did the sports world no favors at all when he started dressing like that, and that's the guy that started it, right? Like Dennis Rodman would wear the feather boas and look ridiculous, and he's the guy that kind of started it. And so there are some people that dress like ridiculous people, and there's some people that dress nice. And I like, look, if you want to wear normal clothes, just jeans and a t-shirt, that's fine. I don't think you have to wear a business suit like Tom Brady would do, like, you know, a really, really expensive suit to the game and stuff. You don't have to do that. But I do think that looking ridiculous is bad. But when it comes to, you know, what happens on the field and stuff, look, I don't think that there's been a Super Bowl where one team was outclassed as much as the Chiefs were this year, but that doesn't change the fact that the Chiefs were defending two years in a row, and Travis Kelce and Mahomes were on the team both times, and they had the same coach. So look, all, you know, great for Philly, because they absolutely dominated. Their defense was just absolutely insane. They didn't blitz until like the very end of the game. All of these interceptions, all these turnovers that they forced, it happened with just 4 dudes. Yeah. Just unstoppable defensive line. So like that's just the way that that played out, but it doesn't mean that Kelce and Mahomes are bad players and it doesn't mean that it's Taylor Swift's fault, because it's been 2 years that Kelce was dating Taylor Swift when he won Super Bowl. So people get a little bit too, you know, politic brained and my team brained when they see. I'm
fine with my team brained in sports.
I mean my political team.
Politically, yes. Okay, so that was one of my critiques of it as well. The thing I have when it comes to the outfits is like, okay, it requires a certain level of ego, because what you need to understand is there was videos of Travis Kelce leaving in his ridiculous outfit. I appreciate that. Now the worst would have been if he wore a less obnoxious outfit to leave after losing. If you go in there in the obnoxious outfit, you have to be a man and wear the obnoxious outfit if you lose when you're leaving. You can't go out in sweatpants and a hoodie. You have to go out in the same obnoxious uniform that you went into. That's just a level of confidence in your ability to win. I saw that Mahomes went in Eagles green to the game. So I did like some of them. There were some memes that I at least enjoyed a little bit. I did like this one because it could have been true. It says, she's going to break up with me and write a freaking song about it. Do something. And then this one, what do you mean they were bribing the refs with USAID money? And then the personal favorite was the one where she literally did the meme.
I can't see. Can you move the...
Yep, hold on. Yep. She literally did the meme.
Yeah, you know.
I appreciate it. There was some other stuff here. I had that one. See, there he is, leaving the game in the outfit he came in the outfit he came in with. If he left in like team colors or something like that, I'd been like, oh, you didn't have the guts to wear your flamboyant outfit after losing. I can appreciate that. Yeah, props. So at least that was my take on it. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh no, dude, like you come in with a ridiculous outfit, you gotta leave in it.
Yeah, you have to leave with the ridiculous outfit, am I right?
Yeah, I just think the ridiculous outfits are bad.
The other things that I thought was funny is like I think Elon buying Twitter worked here too, because I saw a bunch of these very clearly fake. I had a friend at the game post and everyone was booing Trump.
Yeah,
it's thank you Elon for saving the country by making it possible to prove that isn't true.
That's pretty evergreen right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Thank you Elon is very evergreen.
So what do you think? Do you think a lot of the other memes were like he was going to propose at the game? I saw that Dave Portnoy said if they had won, he should have proposed. I disagreed. I think that it was a team sport, and you shouldn't make the victory all about you if they had won. Yeah,
I don't think that he should have done that. I think it's good that he didn't. Look, I mean, I don't know what their relationship is like, but maybe he shouldn't like propose publicly at all.
That's what we said. It's like, I was like, you got money, rent out an island.
Yeah.
Do rich people shit. That's what I think you should do.
Get a boat, dude.
Do rich people.
I mean, even if you just go to Hawaii or go to Tahiti, go to someplace very far away. Yeah, rich people stuff. Yeah, but like go do that and do it without a bunch of
it's just
people
not
around.
The place for it.
Yeah, definitely not at the Super Bowl. No.
I will ask this question. What did you guys think of? Okay, so there's two other like slightly divisive topics that at least tangentially connect to it. One is doing the second national anthem, and the other one, the Black national anthem. The other one was Trump saluting during the national anthem, which was a bunch of people who don't understand that he actually leads the military. Therefore, he
chief.
Exactly. So, what did you think? What were your thoughts on the choice to do the Black national anthem as well?
Did they televise it?
Yes.
I didn't catch the beginning of it.
Yeah, it was so I think 20 minutes before you arrived here, they got it or they did it. It was I'm losing brain cells thinking about it. That's like that's how bad it was. Like it made me sick to watch cuz it's just like you had an argument when it was like, okay, the flag, I believe that the flag should stand for everyone. The anthem should stand for everyone. But like when they were doing the kneeling for the flag, like they had at least had an argument for that. But like to go and like completely make your own thing and like have it up front and center at something where, you know, you're only representing 12% of the population in front of, you know, 90% of the population, other, you know, like it's just, it's not. It was the most un-American thing I've seen on TV in a very, very long time.
It's funny because they got rid of the end racism thing in the end zone.
Yeah, so they had to do something, make it up for it.
I mean, I'm just wondering when they're gonna have like the black locker rooms and the white locker rooms.
Yeah, no, like I mean, let's start doing it. What they're doing at this point. Like, what do you do? They were already doing it in schools in New York City, where it's like, no, we have to. Bringing these inner city kids into a better school district where they can learn more and, you know, get better equipment and stuff like that. No, that's bad for them. Let's keep them segregated in their own places in Manhattan and Harlem. Like it.
Yeah. I think that it seems very, very detrimental to national cohesion, but that's just 100%. My own take on it. So, all right, I would like to know what you guys think. Leave it down in the comments on how you guys think about all that. I do recommend going back and rewatching the videos. We would get copywritten. Would that be the copyright stricken? They would have gotten a copyright strike for showing anything from the Super Bowl, unfortunately. And as an aside, just remember that no matter who won, the city of Philadelphia was going to lose. Because the city of Philadelphia, that did happen. They were burning the city down while chanting F Taylor Swift and burning Kermit the Frog. I don't know what Kermit did to them, but it seems rude. That's all I'm saying. I did see that they tore down a light pole too, and like.
Well, yeah, because didn't they grease it up so they couldn't climb it?
That was in a lot of them.
But that wasn't in Philadelphia. That was in.
Oh, I thought they did it in both.
Oh, maybe they did, but that was initially in New Orleans. That they did.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's it. What would you guys like to see? Cringe or cute of the day? We'll do both, but
I always want cringe first. Make it go away.
All right, we'll get the cringe over with today. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a furry who has a message to all of you.
Is that Keemstar's post?
Daily reminder, you get to define what masculinity and femininity are for yourself.
No, you don't.
Don't let society dictate your gender expression.
Gender's a made-up thing.
Okay.
I'm going to go throw up real quick.
Happy to help, guys.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Like...
Unreal.
Time to get rid of that. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to do that to all of you. But here, this is a cute of the day because I want to, get everybody over that. That was rough. This one's from Deadman. It says, more images of our new kitty sleeping in Raya's chair. That is a very cute cat.
That is a very cute cat.
Very extended kitty. Let's do one more here. This one's from Colleen. It says, hi, PCC. Had to share our adorable little peanut bunny, Bean. She sadly had a condition that cut her life very short, and we lost her earlier this week. But she brought as much joy in her little life, and I want her to be remembered. So we will remember her here. Wow, she's tiny.
Wow.
I feel like those are those cups that you like.
That's like, yeah.
Everybody's grandma had those cups.
Small teacups.
Yeah. Yep. Well, rest in peace to Bean. We are very, very sorry for your loss. But in her passing, she has done us some good by getting rid of that cute of the day or that cringe of the day from
Don't you dare call it cute.
Oh, that was not cute. All right, let's move on then. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into today, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about what the heck was going on with Kanye West, because for the last, what was it, 4 or 5 days, Kanye was on, I guess what you'd call an X-bender, where he was just word vomiting a bunch of trollish stuff on the internet, which led to a bunch of people having discussions about the concept of censorship and whether he was a Nazi, was he not a Nazi, what did it all mean? Well, it all came to a conclusion when he finally deleted or deactivated his X account and left a comment for Elon and everybody else. What I thought was interesting about it was I saw, like, I guess not misinformation, but I saw a bunch of debates back and forth with people claiming that Elon banned him. And I think that what's weird about that is, like, there's a bunch of people who would like that to be true, either because they really, really dislike Kanye or they really, really dislike Elon and want to make Elon look like he was attempting to censor another person. Either way, there's definitely a certain level of personal motivation for anyone who is pushing that.
We got a $20 super chat from Andrew Jacobs. Instead of watching the Super Bowl, I rewatched the IRL with Yee and the PCC about the IRL with Yee. Needless to say, I had a much better night than the Super Bowl watchers. I will say the Dun Kings ads were awesome. What day, y'all?
I liked the one of Seal as an actual seal.
Yeah, that was funny.
Which is funny because we were talking about Seal the other day because we were listening to, what were we listening to on IRL? Kiss from a Rose.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mentioned that he's awesome. And, you know, it's like, can you imagine that guy was like as successful as he was with like a facial disfigurement? Like that means that's not a knock. I'm saying this is like, that's when you're really talented.
Andrew, what was the small HVAC company that bought like 4 5-second commercials? You remember what I'm talking about?
I do, but it was such a flat, like...
Yeah, it was, there's this small, and they said AI can't fix your plumbing, or HI can't fix your HVAC or whatever we can. And I was like, those are my favorite commercials. There are these like tiny little 5-second commercials. It seemed like it was a mom and pop or a small company who bought
that must have cost them a fortune.
I'm sure that it was
they're in the
multiple millions of dollars.
10 millions of dollars.
Yeah, and like it was literally 5-second commercials. I wish I remember their name, but those are my favorite commercials. They were like so fast you almost missed them, but they were like, yo, like sticking their hand up, like getting a little attention in between like Nike and PepsiCo, you know.
Here's what Ye said when he logged off Twitter. He says, "I'm logging out of Twitter. Appreciate Elon for allowing me to vent. It has been very cathartic to use the world as a sounding board. It was like an ayahuasca trip. Love all of you who gave me your energy and attention. Till we connect again. Good afternoon and good night." Witness. Did you guys see his ad? His
Kanye?
His iPhone ad?
Yeah, the Super Bowl ad?
Yeah, well, it wasn't national. He had a regional Super Bowl ad where he's just he tells people to go to Yeezy.com, and he's in a dentist chair after just getting his teeth done. He says, "I can't afford anything because I just got these teeth."
Please tell me the only thing on the site was the only thing that's on the
yes.
site now. Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was crazy. Did you see that, Phil?
No.
Let me see if I can find. I had it pulled up here at some point. Yeah, here's the. I don't know if we'll get copyrighted for this, but here's the ad.
So what's up, guys?
It's from a TV.
I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Go to Yeezy.com.
And then, yes, it goes to Yeezy.com, where the thing is, he's not going to beat those nitrous
Go to
addict.
Yeezy.com and then see what we're selling.
Yeah. Yep. He's not beating those nitrous addiction accusations.
No, he is
for sure.
not.
He's not beating any of the accusations about addiction and drug use and stuff.
So one of the other things that made people talk in regards to this conversation was not just the confusion over his exit, but also I felt like thanking Elon is kind of like Diddy thanking Kanye when he thanked him for standing up for him. I was like, the worst thing that for Kanye right now is for Diddy to be like, "Hey man, thanks." Like the worst thing for Elon is for Ye to be like, "Hey man, thanks."
Yeah.
And that gets used for people on both sides. And people were criticizing Musk for not banning him. But Musk did unfollow him on X, and it became a discussion about so it went from like Frank Pellegrino here says, "I have the perfect solution." Let me put it up here. It says, I have the perfect solution to everyone freaking out over Kanye's tweets from days ago and from his posting porn today. Ready? Block him. Simple. Move on. But the kids, sorry, they shouldn't be on Twitter, let alone following Kanye. Parents need to parent. So what happened was the whole discussion went from being about banning him because of anti-Semitism or hate speech, as they like to call it. Then it became a discussion about the banning of porn. What were your guys' thoughts on that? Like, how do you feel about the concept? Because basically the idea was they're saying that now that X is the de facto public square, there shouldn't be porn in the public square.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can get on X or on most social media pages at 13, so you shouldn't, like, they should at least have to be able, like, have the, like, some kind of they shouldn't just pop up in your feed, whether it be like the sensitive content thing. AI can figure out what's, if something is adult stuff. They should at the very least cover it. I think that there's a good argument. I think there's a good argument for banning, like, actual pornography on things like Facebook, on most social media.
They did. I think they said that Elon marked Kanye's page as NSFW because of all the posts that he was making. Right? Thoughts?
So I mean,
What? Go ahead.
No, it, like, honestly, I never really, like, gave a damn about it. Like, I just thought it was just people, like, bitching to bitch, realistically. So I never really formulated an opinion on it.
Whether, about whether porn should be banned or not?
No, well, on X,
yes.
I mean, yeah, we have sites for that.
They do. This is one take that I thought was really funny. This one says, the fact that Selena Gomez got more hate for crying about immigrant deportation than Kanye got openly admitting that he's a Nazi is insane.
That's because at the time that Selena Gomez was crying, it was literally only criminals getting deported. Yeah. They were going to jails, picking up people that had been arrested that had previous convictions and or at least previous charges. Like, the reason that she got crap was because she was acting as if they were children and babies and all my people and my friends. BS. Like, that's what she got crap for.
My people.
Unreal.
Well, it's like by your people, you mean Southern Californians.
Yeah, like,
what are you talking
wasn't
about?
she born here? Like, what are you talking about?
She doesn't speak Spanish either, so that makes
like.
I don't know. I saw this and I thought it was an interesting back and forth because both of them are kind of radioactive right now. Elon Musk is radioactive because of Doge and all of the stuff connected to Donald Trump, and obviously.
Do you think that the aversion to Elon Musk is real? Because I heard a CBS poll today that said like, Donald Trump's approval rating is at like 56%, which is
really high.
Not just really high. It's
like the highest.
It's the highest he's ever been, and his approval rating with young people is the highest it's ever been, at over like 55% or something like that. So, do you think that there's actually real disapproval of Donald Trump, or do you think that it's just manufactured by the left?
You mean Trump or Elon Musk?
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
For do you think that it's real for Musk, and do you think that Donald Trump doesn't give him cover?
It feels like for both of them, it feels maybe this is just my own bias, but it feels uniquely millennial. Like you said, Trump made great inroads into especially Gen Z men and stuff like that. Whereas there is still this holier than thou, high and mighty attitude amongst liberal men and women that are my age, right? Older millennials and younger millennials, that they just can't stand the idea. To me, it seems like more like they love the idea of the rich people as long as those rich people are doing exactly what they want, and they seem very threatened by somebody who doesn't seem to fall into the hive mind that has been prevalent in mainstream society for the last 50 or 60 years. And what's weird about it is that now as communication has got more decentralized, it feels like that should unravel to me, because it feels like most of the time your idea of how a person is taken would come from your algorithm. Meaning, like, however you choose to view media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's X, whether it's YouTube, you're going to get your own opinion, or you're going to get your own idea of how this person is taken. That's probably not even necessarily able to be connected to reality, because nobody can really see the broad picture anymore, because there isn't a town square like there used to be. However many people are on X is not the same as what was happening when everybody got their news from the same 4 stations every night. There was more of a collective consciousness before people had their eyes opened, because there was just less places to get stuff from. So I don't even know if it's even possible to really get an accurate assessment outside of the election being a good indicator that maybe it was really, really good for Trump. But I don't know how that connects with Musk specifically.
Andrew, do you have a sense?
Like, so in terms of what you said about there used to be more of a public consensus, I sort of disagree with that, because for a very long time on these like social media apps, these companies were rigging the algorithms so that many, if not most of the users were seeing the same news feeds, the same article, like the same sort of articles. I mean, like, there were videos years back where people were going through and, with phones side by side, testing it out and getting the same shit, even though they had wildly different algorithms. But like, I think that the hate for Elon is more genuine, slightly more genuine than it is for Trump, because of what you said with like the millennials and like the rich people are good up until like when they're doing what we want them to.
There has been a cap on the hatred of billionaires, meaning that like now that is a slur to a lot of them. They see the idea of anyone even having that amount of money as abhorrent. So they really, really despise anyone that has that amount of money, and they will really, really despise anyone who doesn't feign some type of old school liberal ideology, right? Like somebody from the early 2000s. Like, they'll be okay with Mark Cuban, sure, as a billionaire, but maybe only a little bit more than Elon. But they would like him more than Elon because they don't like the way that Elon talks now. I guess the same would be used to be true of Zuckerberg in a way, but I feel like Zuckerberg was never all that liked. But maybe I'm wrong.
I feel like Zuckerberg took a real decline when people saw The Social Network. They were like, "Is that what he's like?"
It's really funny. So Jesse Eisenberg has been doing a bunch of press tours lately for new stuff that he's making, and he keeps talking about how he doesn't want to be connected to Mark Zuckerberg anymore. And it's just like, it's the saddest, panderiest stuff ever. It's like, oh, you were totally cool with it when he was censoring everybody and selling our data to China. Yeah. Now he's still doing all that stuff, but he had a glow up, so you don't like him now because he went and saw Trump at Mar-a-Lago. It's very, very sad, but you can't expect them to be informed. All right, let's go and do some super chats here, guys, and then we will move on. So let's go here. So up at the top, Shane H. Wilder says, "Happy Manic Monday, Brett, Phil, and Andrew. I'm guessing Mary got sicker after Friday. I hope she's getting better, but boys. Yeah, Mary's still not feeling well, and of course that brings about the hardest part of the day for me, which is, of course, having to read out loud. Reading is fine. Reading out loud, not so much.
Good save.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it. Kenneth Hart says, "Phil, I'm sorry. I don't own my anger. I merely lease it. I know the depreciation is terrible, but I like having the latest thing to be angry about every 2 years. The dad jokes will continue."
That's great. That he's referencing a lyric from Forever Cold. Yeah.
Kenneth Hart says, "AB commercial series, Best Buds must return. Horse and dog are friends, and it tells a story. Awesome. That's hold on. That's why." And of course, the computer is lagging now. Yep, we're literally frozen. Hold on, guys.
No.
Yep, hold, please.
Oh no.
What we'll do is we'll move on and we'll come back to it. This should catch up with us initially, but this is what happens. Our computer is starting to age out. I think it's time to... Oh, I mean, this... so also today we had like 80,000 tabs open. Thank you, guys.
Oh, boy.
We had like 80,000 tabs open. Yeah, and already our system is... like, it runs out of memory like every day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The memory on Brave... Like, the only thing we have going for us is that it only seems to do so on the back end where, like, I'm running the show, and it doesn't do it on the visuals when we're live. Otherwise, it would be something that I would have to, like, worry about more, but we definitely have that problem right now. I mean, this computer's getting old now. We've had it for, like, we've been running it every day for, like, 3 years now.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
It's been that long.
It has been that long. It's crazy. All right, hold on, guys. We're gonna move on here. Actually, we have to wait now. Like we're literally in this thing now where we have to wait and let the thing catch up.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, that's literally it. Yep.
If you
keep going.
If you do use close that window, it's not gonna kill the stream.
No, I know, but even refreshing is not working right now. So we're catching up here. That's the problem. Hold on, guys. So, how's everybody doing?
Doing well.
I will need people to talk while we catch up.
So, Phil, how'd you enjoy the rest of the Super Bowl after I left? How much longer did you watch?
We watched until the 2 minute. Well, actually, it was like 1 minute left. I think the Chiefs seemed to get a little bit of mojo in the last, like...
I mean, they scored 22 points.
last 5 minutes.
Somebody asked graphics card. Yeah, we don't want that to be the problem, guys.
All right.
All right. We're going to move on, guys. We're going to move on. It's time to talk about what's going on with DC. I do want to talk about it because, look...
DC Comics or DC
this is
Washington,
DC movies. DC,
okay.
Yes, comics and movies. I understand that this is one of those topics that I kind of laugh about because what I've seen from the analytics here, guys, is that I seem to be the only one on this channel that actually cares about what's going on with Superman, but I do love... DC Comics, and I do love DC characters. It's really funny to see that a lot of people do seem to care about Daredevil. They like it when we talk about Captain America. They like it when we dunk on Disney. But even when we dunk on DC, which we are going to do today because I think that the advertising they're doing for the upcoming Superman movie is stupid, people just can't seem to get back into it because they did so much damage for their brand over the last however many years. So first I want to ask you guys, before we even get started, do you even, like, is this the type of thing that you even care about? Is this the type of movie you would even want to go see?
Oh, yeah.
You want to go see Superman?
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed any of did you enjoy the trailer?
I actually didn't watch the trailer last night.
No, well, that's the thing. They didn't release a new trailer. That's what we're going to be talking about here today.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, what happened was what they're doing while they're advertising the upcoming Superman movie is showing you every character but Superman. So last night they had trailers for both Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. They had trailers for the Thunderbolts from Marvel. DC did not spend the money on a Super Bowl trailer. They got a trailer at the Puppy Bowl, which is mimetic and funny, but not exactly the type of thing you want to do when you're actually trying to get people to come out to your movie, right? So this is what they showed first, which I thought was very, very funny. So this was the ad. It says Superman crypto posters at the Puppy Bowl. And then we go to here, and then you see crypto here. And that's literally all they do is they do the thing in the corner of the screen. And then... I want to show you this video. So what they did is they ran an ad for Guy Gardner. Now, if anybody here are DC fans, Guy Gardner is one of the Green Lanterns, and a lot of people were looking forward to them finally bringing Green Lantern to the big screen outside of Justice League, the Snyder Cut, which is the last time that we got that there outside of animated series. But this guy has a really, really good rant, so I want you guys to watch it. This is from an account called Seba. Okay.
Could have teased at the Puppy Bowl. This is what you picked? What the fuck are you guys doing? On the grandest stage of them all, to promote a Superman movie, you use a Green Lantern. But I want people to understand why this pisses me off. When they were shooting the Superman movie in Atlanta, there was a behind-the-scene footage of Mr. Terrific holding a box of treats, running down the street, jumping around like he's like playing with Crypto. And there were some quick shots of him jumping out of the way because people were speculating that Crypto was using his lasers and shooting at Mr. Terrific's feet. Do you have any idea how fucking cool that would have been if you guys just showed like 10 seconds of that? Now, I'm all for promoting the Superman movie on the Puppy Bowl versus the Super Bowl. As someone who adopted a dog a couple months ago at a Humane Society, I can see the importance of promoting Crypto and, promoting adoptions. But goddamn, why'd you have to show this fucking... Like, this is the type of face that I need to see Batman beat the living shit out of. Every time I see this guy, it just pisses me off.
Thoughts?
I'm with that guy.
Yeah. Like, you'd think that, like, what it seemed to say to me was, like, if you're not willing to show your main character in your promotional material, it makes it seem like you're not confident in that character's ability.
I don't think, as far as I've been, like, noticed, it's been, like, since, like, the Man of Steel.
Out of everything you could have teased at the...
Or, like, I guess the Dark Knight movies where it's, like, but were those even DC?
Yes.
So, those were like the last movies where like I felt they were actually confident in what they were putting out. Whereas like for the past, I don't know, when was the Suicide Squad came out? Like
that was 2017, but I mean that's not the point. They've got a bunch of bad movies, so we talk a lot about Marvel being in dire straits lately, and they're trying to work their way back. But they had Justice League, which failed. I mean, it made money, but not enough money considering it had like a gazillion-dollar budget because of all the reshoots. The Flash, Shazam, Black Adam, Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2, all of which bombed. How do you expect people to be excited about anything when you can't actually get people to come to the theaters?
Yeah.
Right? And then Guy Gardner and Crypto is like, there's no Superman in any of the material. And yes, the haircut is comic book accurate, but what it seemed to say to me is like, and people in the chat that are fans of the comics, let me know if you think that this is an accurate assessment. Is like, it's supposed to come off as fun, but it comes off as unserious. And unserious is not the same thing as like a fun tone for a movie. That makes sense? Like,
yeah, it's different than campy.
Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing, right? They're already making a movie that's far too busy, meaning that there's like 8,000 characters in a Superman movie, and they don't need to do that.
Was the Flash movie that they had all the cameos from all the different? Yeah. Was that a success?
No, I mean, that movie went through 8,000 reshoots too, and Ezra Miller was on like a worldwide crime spree, so nobody really expected that movie to do well anyways. But there's also a lot of what it seems to have boiled down to is there are a lot of people that want this movie to do well, but there are a lot of people that either were very big fans of Zack Snyder or just don't trust DC, not necessarily huge fans of Zack Snyder, but just don't trust DC to put out good content anymore. And they're watching these trailers come out and they're wondering why everything looks so campy and silly when you're and why you're advertising in places where nobody's going to be watching when you're trying to get people to come to your movie in July. So this one says, I know people are saying this perfectly displays who Guy Gardner is, but I just don't think it's a good way of promoting your huge movie on the same day as other big movies are doing actual proper TV spots. Feels really cheap in comparison. I think that's a fair critique. This one says, if I was not a comic book movie fan or just an average moviegoer in general, this would literally make me not want to watch Superman. Like, I wouldn't even give it a chance, and I would actively avoid it even when it hits streaming, because who is this parody-ass marketing for? It's like if you're making a movie that's supposed to be serious in some fashion, then you have to take the advertising seriously as well. This one says, so it turns out there's no new Superman footage today after all this hype and shit talk, and then there's nothing. Are you guys looking forward to Fantastic Four this summer? Are you going to go?
Yeah.
I'm not going to see a movie, no.
Wait to see it on streaming?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. There's not a lot of the superhero movies that I'm really excited for. There's a new Marvel movie that's coming out in March, I guess. That's the Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
That looks actually mildly interesting. I like Zack Snyder's I like Man of Steel, and I like the like Superman versus the Batman versus Superman movie. I didn't really like the JLE movie because the bad guys are so bad in all of the DC movies. There's no well,
it's usually Marvel that gets that critique, not DC.
Well, I mean that's not the case. Like if you look at all the bad guys in all of the Marvel movies leading up to Endgame, and it was awesome, and they were they were teasing Thanos super early.
Yeah.
And it was compelling.
That's just good story structure. But if you were to ask who has the better villains, I'm guessing most people would say when they think of rogues galleries, they think of DC characters.
But the people that they haven't used Darkseid, which they should.
Well, they used him in Justice League. Oh, I guess they used him in the Justice League Snyder cut.
Yeah, but it wasn't written well enough for me to even realize that he was Darkseid, and that's only in the Snyder cut. Like you look at the bad guy in the I forget which
Batman
one.
vs Superman.
Yeah, that was
Lex Luthor, and then that was
Doomsday, right?
Doomsday.
But the thing is, you look at the way that they led up to Thanos, like. It was across multiple movies, and there was the writing was just so much better for the Marvel movies. So I feel like they haven't done that in any of the DC movies.
Well, I think
the DC
the
characters
number
are better, but the DC characters have been treated pretty well, but the bad guys have been not compelling. What was the bad guy in the Wonder Woman movie?
In the first one or the second one? The second
Beowulf,
one
was it?
In the second
First
one, it was
no, not the second one. The first one.
Who was it in the first one?
I already forgot. Beowulf or something. Yeah. But that's the point. They were all forgettable. Yeah. You know?
It was Maxwell Lord in the second one. That one was that was bad.
But you look at the way that even the narratives that spawn off of the Marvel movies. So the thing that happened in Sokovia created the bad guy in Civil War, right? And in fact, it was Sokovia that created the whole storyline for Civil War.
The storyline between Sokovia. I actually just reposted the end of that movie the other day where.
There's a $20 from Just Cause I'm Free. Says, wouldn't surprise me if Hollywood decided to have very little Superman screen time so they could have more diversity and introduce other characters. Lol.
You're right. It was Ares. It was the god of war.
Yeah, Ares.
But what's funny about that is at the end of Civil War, when T'Challa stops Zemo from killing himself and then says, the living are not done with you yet. That was great. That was fantastic. But then Zemo becomes like a joke in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So they haven't done well with theirs either. But DC, more than the villains being bad, it has to do with the fact that they just haven't made movies that have actually sold to anyone in like 10 years.
Yeah, and that's like part of what I was saying earlier. Like, it just doesn't hasn't seemed in a very long time to me that they've been passionate about anything that they put out. Like, yeah, I can tell that there's like some care that goes into like the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, but like in terms of, I mean, it reminds me more of what Disney did to Star Wars, what DC does to their characters. And
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I am interested in the Superman movie, if for no other reason than I would like to see them turn it around. And then, of course, the year after that, we have the Supergirl movie, Woman of Tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. I'd be interested to know in the chat whether anyone there's actually looking forward to going and see it. But I have a sneaking suspicion that most people just aren't that interested right now. Because, look, Marvel did really, really well with Deadpool and Wolverine, but I don't think that reinvigorates the audience to necessarily go and see Marvel movies. I'm going to see Brave New World on Friday, assuming that the weather holds and it's not crappy out. After work on Friday, I'm going to go see Captain America: Brave New World. From what I've seen from people's comments online, and again, there's an embargo on the movies right now. You should always be wary of any movie that leaves an embargo up until like right before the movie comes out. But a lot of people are saying is that it's not awful, but it's not great either, and that it doesn't have this feeling of being full of reshoots like people are saying. So if that's what it is, if it's just a play-by-numbers version of an old Captain America movie, I'm okay with that. But we're going to talk later this week also about the advertising for that movie as well, because they're up to shenanigans in China again with their posters. So we'll talk about that. But all right. Sorry about that, guys. Let's move on then. I want to talk about the ads at the Super Bowl. In fact, I just want to talk about a couple of them. So you guys know that I'm not a huge fan of the word woke. I think it's highly overused, and even when you do use it, most of the time you end up with a bunch of people then arguing over what that term even means. But there were a couple of ads at the Super Bowl last night that were very, very funny, and you will enjoy watching because it felt like a time capsule. It felt like I'd been sent back in time to the year 2018. So watch this and then let me know what you think.
Let's settle this once and for all. Your best guy?
Girl.
Whatever. Versus our best guy.
This one gave me cancer.
The Brad.
Oh, not the Brad. I'm Brad.
I can read.
There you go. You got folded up, Brad. Get her. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. Now I have worse cancer. Nobody watches women's sports like at all, except for like women's beach volleyball. And
there's a very good reason.
There's a reason for that. It's just so exhausting. Like, I know this stuff is no longer in favor, and this is honestly the minority of. There's only a handful of commercials that were even close to this kind of stuff.
It was this and the Nike one, which we'll watch as well.
Yeah.
So
if you want to play that,
one?
let's watch this one as well, guys. Here we go.
You can't be emotional, so be emotional. You can't take credit. You can't speak up. You can't be so ambitious. You can't break records. You can't have any fun. You can't make demands. You can't keep score. You can't stand out. Whatever you do, you can't win. So win.
It's so funny because it's such an insult to the actual like really, really good athletes.
So
like
first of
Sha'Carri
all,
Richardson.
They can't actually sell tickets or like get views. Like, no one cares, first of all. And second of all, these are actually progress from 2020, right? Because if it was if these were made in 2020 or 2021, they would all be trans women. They would all be dudes. And they just having normal women is actually better than having. Yes, it's a step in the right direction, because none of those. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe none of those women ever had a penis.
Yes.
So.
Well, you know, when I imagine like the actual really, really gifted athletes, like a Caitlin Clark or a Sha'Carri, like they're the top of their field, they don't need that type of pandering, but they have to embrace it anyways because it's part of the culture. It reminds me of the trope that you see like on Instagram reels where it's like, they told me I can't do this, so I did it. And I'm like, bro, nobody told you that. Yeah. Like, who was it that told you?
Nobody cares enough to tell you.
Nobody's told you. No one has told anyone that they can't do something for like 20 years because there was a lawsuit that was coming afterwards if you did.
It's like if I was like here one day, I was like, everyone told me I couldn't podcast, and I can't. That would, it's like, and I can't see, the computer keeps freezing, so maybe they were right.
Yeah.
Like that's funnier, is to do actual satire.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it feels like these types of ads are like they had this one down like in the pipeline 2 years ago.
Yeah, like it was a holdover.
Like they're like they actually didn't have the money to make a new one this year, so they're like, didn't we make one
inflation
back in like 2021 that would have been good? And they're like, yeah, just release that one. We can afford that.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
But there was also this whole flurry of like pseudo patriotic ads that were like vaguely pro-America that I thought was funny as well. And it's this dichotomy between, you kind of have to use the commercials and the pandering of celebrities as a way to indicate where the culture is going, because people always get mad when the celebrities say something that they agree with, but then they're like, but they don't mean it because they said this before. I'm like, you should never look to a celebrity for authentic takes anyways. Right?
I mean, yeah, it depends. Like, you probably shouldn't look to celebrities for authentic takes unless that celebrity is consistently like upsetting people. Now, I don't think these takes are good, right, at all. But I do think Kanye believes and means the stuff that he says.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
I think that he does. I think it's a twisted way. I think that he probably needs to be medicated. His understanding of things is very off, but he's not saying the things that he's supposed to say. He's saying things that he's not supposed to say. So
I mean, I just look at it as he's always used that type of shock to get attention.
I just think he's bipolar.
Has he always?
I mean,
or is it
in the
since
last
his mom
several
died?
years? Yeah, yes. I mean, that's like, I look at that as people are looking at the awful things that he's saying, and I'm like, yeah, but you're looking at a couple of them. There's like a word vomit list of tweets that are all ridiculous. Where I look at that as the totality of what he's saying is that this all screams to me an episode, not authentic behavior.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I think most of the stuff that he says it stems from the way that he's been treated by the music industry.
I see somebody in the chat. Was it Dave Whitley? Wait, no, I'm sorry. Cord says, I drive an MFing Jeep. Eat shit, Harrison Ford. Yeah, there was this Harrison Ford ad that I laughed because I'm like, when was the last time? Remember when everybody was saying they need to bring back the Clydesdales for...
They did bring them back.
I know. But remember when that was like a big focus of conversation? And now like we've got American flags in ads again for Jeep.
Yeah.
Longest thing we ever do is live our lives. But life doesn't come with an owner's manual. Might have been nice, huh? But that means we get to write our own stories. Freedom is yes or no or maybe. Freedom is for everybody, but it isn't free. It's earned.
I don't think I ever expected to hear freedom isn't free in the media ever again.
Yeah.
Like, if you had rewound this to 2018, I would have told you that is a phrase that has been lost to history. And this is something that I guarantee you every elitist in Hollywood has made fun of, people in the Midwest or in the Rust Belt for saying things like that because they don't actually like you. They hate your guts.
Dude, I haven't heard freedom isn't free since George Bush was president.
Seriously. I'm about to hear about freedom fries at McDonald's.
There are real heroes in the world, but not the ones in the movies. Real heroes are humble. They're not driven by pride. Pride is a terrible driver. Freedom is the roar of one man's engine and the silence of another's. Freedom is the ability to inspire. The most sacred thing in
I
life.
just imagine some West Coast art director just gets hives having to film an American flag because they really do hate America a lot of the
He has
time.
to keep an
This isn't the path. It's the freedom to choose it. You don't have to be friends with someone to wave at them. We won't always agree on which way to go. But our differences can be our strength. So choose, but choose wisely. Choose what makes you happy. My friends, my family, my work make me happy. This Jeep makes me happy, even though my name is... That's my owner's manual.
I do always like that Harrison Ford basically always talks about how he's like, I did it because it made me money.
Yeah.
That's his thing, which I appreciate 110%.
He's honest.
He's like, I love my work. Yeah, because your work makes you a lot of money. And that's okay. You shouldn't have to actually be upset that you make a lot of money doing your job. I appreciate that. You have to look at the commercials as a barometer of where society is going right now. And what you're looking at is a lot of, whereas 5 years ago, 3 years ago, they were pandering to far left causes. Now they're pandering to middle America. It's George Bush is going to show up in a commercial any second now. Right?
Yeah. I mean, look, anything that casts... we have gone so far from positive outlooks on America and Americans. Mm-hmm. Anything that casts America and Americans and American things in a good light, I'm for.
Yeah.
It's real simple, right?
I agree, but at the same time, living the past 27 years of my life, being inundated with this crap for as long as I can remember.
Wait, which stuff?
Like the woke shit.
Okay. See, depending on how old you are, that wasn't the norm growing up for...
But, I mean, for me, it was the norm. That
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I even forgot where I was going with this. Fuck.
Just saying that 27 years of woke stuff has been the norm, and seeing it, and...
No, I had a thought before that. Fuck.
It
Well,
happens.
anyway.
I loved it when you would be on IRL and you're like, oh, lost the thought, because that shit happens to me sometimes, and then you just go, and then I just I go left field because I forget mid-sentence.
Well, a lot of times I try not to talk over people. Someone will say something and I'll be like, and then they'll go ahead and they'll finish their thought or whatever. And then when it actually comes back, I'm like, I don't remember what I was going to say. So
I guess to me, it's it also depends on how much you pay attention to what's going on in Hollywood, right? So if you do what we do and you speak about it all the time, then you have to understand that you're seeing a lot of hypocrisy there because they go whichever way the wind blows. And then that's when I say it's depending on what your values are, you decide to say look, I may know that this guy's not being sincere, but he probably wasn't being sincere when he did the other commercials too. They just want the money. You can usually discern the ones who are true believers and the ones who are just doing something for a paycheck if you pay close attention. In lieu of that, you have to say, look, I may not know whether this guy is being sincere or not, but at least the message that they're pushing is something that I somewhat agree with. It's a form of pragmatism.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're dealing with Hollywood, that's really kind of what you have to get behind. You have to get behind whether or not the message being promoted is something that you agree with, and ignore who's doing the talking, because they are actors. They're all at the point of all of these people that get, you know, millions of dollars to play roles and stuff. There's no reason to believe they believe any of the things that they're saying at any time, unless they're specifically saying no, that, like, outside of the context of doing a job, and they're like, no, this is what I really think. Then maybe you might say, well, they seem like an honest guy, and, you know, they say that they're only acting in this part, so maybe I believe this. But when it comes to, like, when they're doing stuff on the red carpet or whatever, they are saying what their publicists say they should say. They're saying what they're advised to say, and they're not saying what they really believe. There are a lot of people that really hate the fact that Harrison Ford looks at Star Wars and says, it was a job. I'm an actor. I was acting. Like, people will go, and that's why he doesn't go to a lot of Comic-Cons, right? Like, you don't see him doing.
He's also kind of a scumbag.
What?
He's also kind of a scumbag to his fans.
Well, he doesn't entertain the idea that he's actually Han Solo. The guy flew a helicopter to save people, like in real life. So he flew a helicopter to save hikers.
Yeah, then he should have kept doing that instead of playing Han Solo in Indiana Jones.
Well, he had already like played Han Solo in Indiana Jones, so he had the helicopter afterwards. But the point being, so you can't say that he's a scumbag. Maybe he doesn't entertain the people that are fans that think that he's really Han Solo, and so like that you can say he doesn't do fan service, but that doesn't mean that he's a scumbag.
Oh no, I disagree. Like those people made him. Like without anyone watching Star Wars, or like he would have just been some guy in a movie that flopped from some weird bearded dude.
But that doesn't mean that he has to like have an opinion on what Han Solo would think about like eggs for breakfast or whatever. Like, 'cause
I'm not saying that
Star Wars
does, but like when you're like incredibly dismissive of fans in general, like even outside of the context of your like just saying, hey man, really liked you in your movies or something like that. Like there are actors like that, like Jerry Seinfeld, Kevin James, where they're just scumbags like that. They do not give a fuck about their fans.
So I can't speak to whether or not he actually does or doesn't. And this goes back to the I don't know. You can't know what they actually believe, because he's gonna get like if he says the wrong thing, then he's gonna end up getting bad press for it, and that you don't get attention, or they like if he interacts with a boatload of people and he has 2 or 3 bad interactions, those are the ones that are gonna get highlighted. I know this because I've been on the receiving end of, especially when I used to drink, someone would run into me and I'm like, assed out or whatever, drunk, and it's like, oh, you were a dick, and it's like, well, dude, I'm sorry, man, like you caught me at a bad time, and so I'm interacting with 1,000 people on a tour or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, 2 of the guys I bummed out because I was in a bad state of mind.
And that's the story that'll get
exactly. That's my point. Yeah,
I've heard plenty of stories about him being ambivalent about Star Wars, but I've never heard stories about him being like rude to fans.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm just missing him.
Yeah. No,
I tend to take the opposite perspective most of the time, because nowadays what you see is a bunch of people pretending to care about the stuff that they get jobs for, as if that they loved it their whole lives because they want to get more work out of it. Like my favorite now, it's like this actor thinks that this character they're playing should interact with Spider-Man. I'm like, yeah, because he wants more work.
Douglas Plum with a $20 super chat says, you don't need to read this out loud. I'm a soldier at the border. I need help. I and others are under investigation for doing what we thought was right and are getting screwed. I sent an email to the info email. Please reply. I started reading it before.
This is the wrong show for that.
Yeah, you should. We appreciate the super chat, but you should probably like tweet at or like do something for IRL. This is probably not the show for this kind of topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I guess I don't care what, like, to me, I maybe it's because to me separating the art from the artist is paramount to what, like, bad content can ruin a show for me in a second, but an actor having awful takes has never stopped me from liking something. So.
Oh, it's not going to stop me from liking it.
I've never used that as like
I love Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld's a douchebag, and I hate him as a person. I love the art. Hate him as a person.
Yeah.
You know, I can say that about a lot. Hate Bill Cosby as a person.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby's show was fucking hilarious. His stand-up, fucking hilarious. Doesn't change the fact they raped 25 women.
Horrible
That's
timing.
weird. Yeah, that's a
Horrible timing.
That's gonna get clipped.
Doesn't change the fact they changed 25 people. They raped 25 people.
That's gonna be my ringtone now.
Yeah. All right. Make of that what you will, guys. I'd be interested to know what you in the chat think. Whether you care if an actor has that type of attitude toward the fans or the art. But let's go ahead and let's do the super chats, guys, and we will hang out. It's always harder when Mary's not here. I think the best thing to do is just do all the super chats at the end.
Yeah, normally, like I don't know where how Mary gets the super chats.
She's looking at it on a spreadsheet, which is why it's not connected to the live stream, which is why she's able to start at the top there. All right, let's go down. Shane H. Wilder says Christy Carlson Romano got hit in the face while shooting clay pigeons with her husband. It doesn't look as bad as it could have been. Okay, I saw the picture of that, and I didn't know who that was, but I did see that, and I didn't imagine whether it was... It looked like weird. Maybe I'm just too politically active. It looked like weird anti-gun propaganda, where it's like, look what happens. It's like, did he actually shoot her, or did like a piece of clay get them in the face? I have no idea, but I did see the photo of her, and it didn't look that bad. But hopefully they're okay. Weary Traveler gave us an apple and a crown emoji.
Thanks.
Thank you. Tacty Platty says, Brett, great work on IRL Friday. Good Fringe comment. Have you and OC rewatched it yet? Phil, I am tired of Teslas not doing crime in the left lane.
I mean, everyone, that's what the left lane is for.
Yeah.
Like, it's specifically for that.
And as for Fringe, no. I've got a pretty good, like... Not to brag, but I think I understand Olivia well enough to know which shows she's going to like and which shows she's not going to like, so that I don't have to waste her time trying to show her. I've got a list of 15 shows I've gotten her to watch and like, and the list of shows I've gotten her to try to watch is probably a little bit higher than that. But Fringe is probably not in that wheelhouse for her. She might take to Walter, I suppose. But in general, I don't think it's the type of show she would like. But it's not on any streaming services anymore. They took it off of HBO Max, so I would have to buy it now. And as much as I liked Fringe, I don't think it's one of those shows that I would spend the money to buy. I would just wait for it to come back on a streaming service eventually.
Arg, matey.
Yeah. I've only got a work laptop at home, so I'm not going to do that on a work
Yeah, please don't.
I'm not going to do that on a work laptop. Shane
Just
H.
porn.
Exactly. Shane H. Wilder says, the IRL chat is where civility and morals go to die, while PCC chat is mostly a wholesome chungus. Look, there are definitely some people in the chat that like to poke at me during the show.
I've always looked at like IRL chats like 4chan, and PCC chats more like Reddit, where it's like it's a similar enough thing, but it's not as much of a cesspool.
The IRL chat is, I mean, there's just so many people that are watching IRL.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you figure that there could be, you know, a couple thousand people that are in the IRL chat.
Yeah.
And, you know, and here we got a few hundred. And out of those couple thousand, you know, maybe 200 are regularly posting a lot of stuff. You know, I don't know for sure if those are the right numbers, but it's a guess. And maybe in here, maybe there's 50 people that post regularly, you know, all the time, you know, so.
G. Santoyo says, Fringe is on Amazon Prime. It is on Amazon Prime to buy. I know this because I looked the other day, because I was like, after I've been, so the thing that I've been doing lately is I've been watching a lot of like TV show retrospectives, which is a great way to kill time because they tend to be over an hour long. So like my whole commute in one day, like if I get an hour and 20-minute retrospective, my whole day, like to work and then coming home from work, can be done with one video. And I'm watching a Fringe retrospective right now. There's a really great YouTube channel that I would recommend called Slipmaker, who does a lot of TV show retrospectives on a lot of the shows. If you've liked any of the recommendations I've given you, a lot of those shows end up on there. Dexter, Eureka, Warehouse 13, Chuck. There's retrospectives on all of those shows. There's one on iZombie that I plan to watch next. So it was up on Amazon Prime to buy, not to watch. However, they have been doing this. They've been on some shit lately. So there was a show that I was watching, and there's a show called Jeremiah. you had to buy episode 1 or season 1, but season 2 is on Prime. So you like if you want to watch it, you have to pay for the first season to get the second season for free viewing. And then also there's another show called Ties That Bind where it had one season, 10 episodes. I don't know if anybody in the world watched the show but me when it came out. It was a Kelly Williams show. Just episode 7 was there for purchase. Everyone else was free. So you get 1 through 6, then you get to 7. You're like, I'm not paying for that shit. Are you insane? Pete Donovan says, Masculinity Monday and day after Sports Ball Sunday.
Boys.
Yeah, I dunk on people that don't like sports. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just like...
It's like it's what it is like... I always make fun of, like, people call me a nerd. I say, no, that's stolen valor because I'm not actually a nerd. But for the true blue nerds that say sports ball, it's because they grew up not liking jocks. I get it, but I don't agree. I grew up playing sports, so I can't really...
We got a $20 from Vodka J Bulls. Christy Carlson Romano is known for Disney Channel voice work, Broadway, etc. Her husband is a Marine. They went to gun range for his B-Day. She is okay, but has shrapnel under her right eye. I'm a lifelong fan and will pray for her.
Yeah, I saw the picture of it. It looked like she had a bruise under her eye. So, like, what would the shrapnel have been from? I'm picturing, like, if you actually think of what happens, if you're saying that were they at the range or were they, like...
It's clay pigeons.
So if they were clay pigeons, how does shrapnel come out of that?
So, like, I guess when they pulled, it was right over the head and he went up and it
So
came
she was
down.
just that close to...
I mean, I don't see how...
So it was a shotgun? Not really?
I mean, that's what they were saying is that, I mean, every article that I saw, too, was clay pigeon.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's
that's what I thought. I was like, shrapnel doesn't just come from... did she get like a casing to the eye?
No, she was not Antonin Scalia to his Dick Cheney.
Yeah. All right. Stefan Buttle says Drake is going to sue the NFL. Well, he strategically changed the lyrics or left parts out where he doesn't actually call them the PDF file. He let the crowd say that part during the song.
Banger.
Alvin McGoth said... make sure I didn't miss the 20s there. Yeah. It's 3:20 already. Today is going by so fast for me. Yeah, that's how it felt today, getting the show together.
It's actually 4:25.
Yeah. Pete Donovan says, bell bottoms are cool. Changed my mind.
I mean, I don't want to change your mind, honestly.
Teach their... you get a lot of critiques of libertarianism these days, but I'll live and let live when it comes to your bell bottoms. You don't have to come and take it. For the bell bottoms.
We should make that flag.
Dull and Tired says, rage on behalf of the machine. Am I right?
Am I right?
You still listen to him whenever Rage Against the Machine comes on?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of like radio,
yeah.
So it doesn't pop up randomly. But I do still like when I listen to it. It's not like, oh man, I'm turning this off because I don't like these guys. Like I like Rage Against the Machine. I like their stuff. I've liked it for... ever since it was when I heard it when I was a kid,
Since before I've been alive.
Yeah.
Know your enemy.
That was a good one.
Sketch Therapy said, Swift is a scorpion. If you want to be a frog and give her a ride on your back across the river, you fools are forgetting that animal will sting even if it sinks her. I get the metaphor, the story. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she's going to sting me specifically. Frankly, I don't think I'll ever stand close enough to her to get stung by her. But I tend to roll my eyes at the liberal versus conservative debates that go on online because I don't know where I stand on all of it because no conservative would ever call me conservative and most liberals wouldn't call me liberal anymore either. So I don't know how I feel about most of it.
So you're just a normal human being.
I mean, I always make the point on here that I'm a normie. Still to this day, I consider myself a normie, but I'm told that I can't do that I'm wrong. I don't know whether that's true or not.
There's so many people that add so much or so many qualifiers to whether you are a thing or not. Like someone says, oh, well, you can't be a conservative because you don't have social conservative values. And it's like, well, okay. I mean, I have very, very conservative fiscal views, though. And it's like, well,
what if I'm like 80% fiscally conservative? Does that make up for the 30% socially conservative?
I don't know how they do it. But the point is, essentially, people use it as a way to either disqualify you for being on their team or say that you're on their team, right? Like I'm not particularly socially conservative, but people would call me a conservative because of who I hang out with. And also the context that like, I'm not super socially conservative, but I don't believe that you can become a man if you're a woman, or you can become a woman if you're a man. So like, does that mean that I'm socially, does that mean that I am socially conservative now?
I mean, also there's this.
I feel like that's just a realist.
I think one of the problems is we've kind of given up dividing the terms liberal and leftist, and a lot of what people are talking about is leftism when they're not actually.
Which is not liberal at all.
Which is not liberalism.
It's very illiberal. So
there's a 20 here from Salty Bag of Nuts. I did VIP security for 10 years. Most of the celebrities are nice and genuine people. It's also hard being nice all the time to the repetitive behavior of normies, especially on bad days in an unpopular city like mine, Sacramento. Well, that's good, right? Like, and again, you see it every day online where it benefits the media organizations and clicks if you give a hyperbolic take on everything. It's one of the hardest things to do in this job is, like, how do you make a thumbnail that catches everyone's eye that isn't just outright bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
Without it
sounds
being
like a fool's errand.
Well, it's like when IRL does their thumbnails, they're like 12 words long. And they get a lot of critiques where people are like, that's too many words. I'm like, yeah, because they're trying to be as fair as possible to the headline.
Well, they're trying to give as much information.
Right? So it's like, we're like, so-and-so is woke.
Yeah.
F that guy.
He sucks.
This one says, I like this. Somebody says, hold on, I'll go back up to that one. Machinist 12388 says, take a stand, Brett. It made me laugh because there was a great tweet last night where the Elmo account said, I just hope both teams have fun. And somebody quote tweeted and says, take a stand, shithead.
Vodka J Bulls with another $20 says, last Christy Romano update I have is husband didn't do it. Was a second unnamed party that accidentally discharged a weapon. Husband applied first aid and got her to the hospital. I don't know if she was even shooting.
This is starting to sound like something we need to cover tomorrow.
Did we miss Salty Bag of Nuts?
No, I did that one.
Okay.
That's sounding like a story we need to cover tomorrow. There's like a gunman on the grassy knoll. Yeah. Holy shit!
Sound like Rust.
All right. Yeah. Right. Sketch Therapy says, you want to listen to her fine, don't tell us not to boo her.
Who?
Sketch Therapy about Taylor Swift. I mean, we're not telling you not to boo her. We're just giving our reasoning as to why we may agree or disagree with that. I'm not here to tell you to do anything.
Othering's kind of cringe anyway,
Greg Duvier says, put a girl on. Well, we can't today because Mary's not feeling
I'm the
well.
best you guys got.
He's got long hair. That's going to have to do today.
Deal with it.
Shane H. Wilder says, the game was great. The highlight of my night was watching a nun who knew nothing about football live tweeting the game from her convent. From convent. I was like,
convent.
I was
okay.
like looking at that.
No, coven is witches.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I looked at it twice. I'm like, what? I am curious how y'all feel about the game being on Tubi. It's on Mubi with ads. I mean, that's becoming more and more. Tubi, I'm telling you right now, was it... not William Shatner. It was who was the dude? So Tubi is going to become more and more common. One of the things about the most recent update from the Disney financial sector is that they understand that the full priced version isn't where the money is. All of the money is made by funneling you to the ad tier so that they can sell advertising to people and still get you to pay $8 to $10 a month on stuff. So Tubi got in early on that and are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, yep.
I think Fubo also did a similar thing.
Yeah, it's
but they've
live
tanked.
sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder says, sigh, Mary has screwed up my algorithm again. I've already seen the cringe. I hated then and I hate it now. I don't blame you. That one was me, though. I found that one today.
Wyatt Kaldenberg for $20 says, last night's IRL. That's weird because there wasn't an IRL last night. Do you guys hear voices in your head? When I think I see pictures in movies, I have never heard voices. What are the voices talking about? Brett, let's take a poll and see how many people hear voices in their head. And what he's referring to is not just voices in your head. When you think, do you hear yourself talk? It's not like someone else is talking to you.
Oh.
He's talking. It's like when you're thinking, do you hear yourself talking?
Yeah.
I don't particularly hear myself, but the words definitely form in my head. And a lot of times, like, I'll mutter, I'll walk around the house and kind of like talk to myself because I'm thinking, and it just comes out as I'm talking. But because I, am socially well adjusted, I don't do that around other people very much. Like, I'm usually pretty good about not muttering and talking to myself, but I do think in words. We got to this because we were talking about the way that, like, the language that you think in is kind of like your operating system, because if there are no words for a concept in English, you have a tough time explaining it. So there's a word for, like, resentment is a particular kind of resentment that doesn't like, when you say resentment, it doesn't explain it well enough. Resentment is a French word. It means like resentment, but resentment to the point where it's like, where it makes you likely to destroy yourself in order to hurt someone else, which is kind of like the basis for leftism. Nietzsche came up with the resentment.
I have that. So for me now, it's weird because my job requires me to talk, and I'm not a good talker. More often than not, when I'm thinking to myself,
good talker.
That was the point. More often than not, when I'm having that inner monologue, obviously it doesn't register because it usually doesn't. You've been doing it your whole life, so you don't really think about it. The only time I ever really think about it is when I'm trying to think of a word specifically that's not coming to my mind, usually because I'm trying to describe something, and that happens more often than not in private moments when I'm trying to either get stuff ready for the show or I'm doing something related to work. Otherwise, my inner monologue is more just my own manic self talking about whatever the hell I'm thinking about, usually anxiety about something or something of that nature. All right, Gordon Shumway says Kermit the Frog is a reference to Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I didn't think about that till after I said it.
Why is Patrick Mahomes?
Sounds like him.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Because he sounds like him. Greg Duvier says, I got one last breath inside me, die saint or live with sin.
These are all that remains lyrics as well.
Okay. I hereby opt out of reading any lyrics today, guys.
Some of them, when they come across, it's like, is this a song lyric or are you going through some shit?
I hereby opt out today. Shane H. Wilder says, Ye vents with troll posts in porn, then bounces. He said prawn, but I just said the actual word. Yeah, again, that to me, it didn't scream of like legitimate behavior. It just seemed like somebody having a manic episode and then dipping. Says Pew C. Slayer says mess with the libs. Say Ye has been Q all along.
I might actually start doing that.
There you go. No Control says nothing legal should be banned. Give people better filters instead. That came through in reference to the porn.
Maybe, but if that's the case, then those filters should be in place, and you have to take them off.
But it's not. Those things aren't legal for everyone, though. Like technically speaking, it's illegal for someone under 18 to possess pornographic material.
That's true.
Then the point would be to make Twitter an 18+ platform that requires you to put in place identification restraints.
Which I totally agree with for porn sites, but not for Twitter.
Yeah.
Irishima Utaru says kids just shouldn't be on social media. Well, you're probably not wrong. It's probably detrimental to their health. But
parents suck these days.
I mean, we did just do a topic on Friday about kids who are going to school not knowing how to walk upstairs or go to the bathroom.
I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
How do you not know how?
They don't know how to turn the pages of books. They're making it into school, and they.
Are you sure they're just not fucking with people?
No, I buy it. I buy it. Tacty Platty says millennials hurting the country again. Thanks. Well, then you have a whole discussion. Thank you. About who's doing worse, millennials or boomers. I do always laugh at the people who have a particular disdain for boomers. Because I tend to be a person who is, as much as I agree with a lot of their critiques of boomers, it always seems to come across as like, okay, you've made your point, now what are you going to do about it? But then you see the posts from the boomers where it's like, hey, we voted for Kamal, with their glass of champagne and their hot tub, and you're like, okay, so just one more FU on the way out.
Yeah.
I get it. but at the same time, I'm always like, yes, I get it, but what are you going to do about it? As far as millennials, when millennials critique of boomers, I'm like, okay, great, you're right. So what's the fix?
Wait for them to die and piss on their graves.
There you go. Just Because I'm Free says, does Phil have a response to Ian's recent comments on manifestation?
Oh, he does.
Yeah. Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster by your side.
I did see his post about the Chiefs losing because they're the Chiefs.
He posted some video today, like right at the beginning of PCC. It was he's in a sauna, so he's got his shirt off and he's sweating, and he's talking about like.
Does your phone work in a sauna? I feel like you shouldn't bring your phone in a sauna.
You shouldn't, but it will.
I mean, you know.
Okay, so what did he say?
He posted a video saying that he was likening myself and him and other people on IRL to people in Lord of the Rings, and so like he's like you're a warrior and you have magic resistance, whatever. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, I don't know that I'm a warrior, but I'm far closer to like Han Solo than you know Gimli. He said I'm like Gimli because dwarves have magic resistance.
I mean, I just looked at it.
Is that why he said Gimli though?
I mean, that's what he said because he was talking about divine magic. He says he's like Legolas. He's like a bard. He's like, and there's a time and place for magic, and there's a time and place for brute force. And so I just replied with a Han Solo quote because
I will always.
That is very much. I feel very much like Han Solo in the fact that like I'm not really moved by your idea of speaking words and casting magic spells or staring at the sun. So.
I will always love
gazing.
I will always love Ian for how committed he is to what he believes.
Look, he can have whatever beliefs he wants, and I would never say that he's not welcome to them. Mm-hmm. But when he starts policing my speech over his beliefs, that's the same stuff that everybody complained about the left doing for a decade. So
I would also say
that's
that
not acceptable behavior.
The Chiefs were also the Chiefs when they won the previous 2 Super Bowls, so I don't know if that holds up.
And I think the Commanders only were losing pretty badly only after they changed their name from the Redskins. So
the Redskins haven't been good in a long time, though.
Well, yeah, but maybe there's something to be said about those offensive names. Maybe it causes them to win.
Have the Guardians won since they dropped the name the Indians, the Cleveland Indians?
I don't know, but I hate it all.
I still have my Cleveland Indian hats because I loved the movie Major League growing up, and Kenny Lofton was awesome. Just in the same way that I wear. Well, I'm not wearing a Seattle hat today. The reason I wear Seattle hats is because of Ken Griffey Jr. Shane H. Wilder says, Brett with super chats. Eyes, cans, reads, wells. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If I, when they talk about people having nightmares about being naked in front of an audience, that mine would be just having to speak at all in front of an audience. Read in front of an audience.
I have had that nightmare.
Yep. Wilhelm says, Lamar is only still famous because his songs are clipped in shorts. I mean, that's a lot of the internet now, right? A lot of people become TikTok famous because their song blows up online. And I think Kendrick Lamar is famous in his own right, though I'm preferential to
he's been around for a long time.
I did laugh because I was like, yeah, he's kind of pretentious, but I like J. Cole, which is incongruous because J. Cole is also pretentious, so it's fun. The duality of man. Pete Donovan says, Phil saying, oh no, reminds me of Family Guy. Pusey Slayer says, I cut meat thin and uneven. Call it a Snyder cut.
I saw that one earlier, and I like that one a lot.
Zach Hates YouTube says, are you serious, Brett? 80,000 tabs? There's no way. Oh, it was pretty close. It was pretty close.
A lot of tabs.
You should see his browser window,
And I've closed half of them because of as we've gone through, but I've got other ones open that are for later in the week.
So you closed 40,000 or you closed 80,000?
At least. I'd probably throw 60,000.
There was one time when I came in here to do something, I clicked on the the thing to expand the rest of the tabs because it was full, and it went to the bottom of the monitor, and there was a scroll list. I was just like, how? How?
Well, I mean, that's why I sound so like disoriented during the show is because I'm trying to do I'm trying to do multiple things at once, and I can barely do one thing at once. So I was actually a horrible person to hire for this particular job. I don't know what Tim was thinking. Zach Yandel says Aries. Yes, it was Aries in Wonder Woman. Thank you. Greg Duvier says Weird Al should play at the Hall of Fame show.
Yes,
that is a freaking great idea. Sorry, halftime show. That is a freaking great idea.
You know that
every single one of the songs he would pick there's not a person in that crowd that wouldn't know it.
Not a person in the country.
Yep.
Everyone would love it.
That would be amazing.
That's like, that might be.
I mean, especially because it would allow him to tailor the show to bring the people that he does the parody on. Like, imagine did he ever bury the hatchet with Coolio for Amish Paradise? Like, bring on everybody, right? See, my personal favorite is Party in the CIA by Weird Al, and he could bring Miley Cyrus on to do Party in the CIA. No Control. With Caitlin Clark, the WNBA had their best year ever, only lost $40 million. Yeah.
I only watch women's pole vault.
Me too, bro. Olivia comes in. She's like, "Why do you only watch women's pole vaulting?" I'm like,
"Wouldn't you like to know?"
I was like, they're so talented.
Isaac Cervantes III says, "Hello, fellow men's. Can we call Mrs. Reynolds Blake the Snake Lively?"
That's a great name. That's a great idea.
Maybe. Zach hates YouTube for another 20. I hate Tubi. It said my TV couldn't stream the game, but would stream any other live TV program on Tubi was just fine. I even went against my better judgment and updated everything on my TV, and it still didn't work. F them.
Never do that. Never update anything.
No, you should always do that.
No, never update
That's why it stops working.
You guys will have a battle royal about that.
No, never. Just never. Like, for instance, guys,
No, I gave up on making Brett do things a long time ago.
What? You've never asked me to do anything. The Stream Deck on here is the Stream Deck application on here is like 4 versions back, because anytime you update Stream Deck, bad things happen.
That one and Streamlabs OBS are the 2 that I will never update, because the last time I updated Streamlabs OBS, I had to sit there and remake all of the profiles in them by hand.
Most everything on my computer.
That wasn't even my job in the beginning.
Most everything on my computer is updated, but when it comes to Pro Tools, you do not update.
No, Pro Tools is the one.
You never update, because the new operating system comes out and you don't update. When the new Pro Tools comes out, you don't update. When the next operating system comes out, then you update to the previous operating system and to the previous version of Pro Tools, because by then they have all the bugs worked out.
Yeah.
I know that Coolio died. I was not saying that Coolio was still alive. That's why I brought up Weird Al and Miley Cyrus. But Coolio
how long ago was that?
Coolio was one of the bigger losses, like DMX.
Yeah, but how long ago was it?
A couple years ago now.
A couple years ago?
Yeah. DMX was a bad one too. Did Weird Al ever cover do any parodies of any DMX songs?
I
have to think about that.
He should do Where the Hood At.
He should have. Omega Red Fan says PCC. Boys, 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 boys. The Rumbling says DC's Berlantiverse is the only good DC shows. Look, you could make a strong argument that Arrow in its early seasons and The Flash in seasons 1 and 2 were as good as DC got. And I would actually say that Arrow seasons 1 and 2 and The Flash seasons 1 and 2 are not just good superhero shows, but good shows in general. I do agree.
I'd throw the first 3 episodes of the 3rd season in there too, and
of which one?
A Flash.
That was the Savitar season, right?
Yeah, but that was before it started really like going downhill.
Yeah. I like they did pretty good for the Savitar suit on a budget, right?
Yeah,
that it was.
I was honestly really impressed with.
It's because they never took the speed, the actual speedster element seriously. It looked fake every single time, right from the beginning, so it was fine. I still maintain that it was like season 1, episode 16 of The Flash, where where he finds out that what's his name is the Reverse Flash, and then he kills him, and then he gets brought back.
Yeah,
that's a legitimately moving episode of TV.
That was like, I had watched that like not having it spoiled for me, and like it was one of the few like moments in a TV show recently where I was like, no, wait, what? He's back? Like, what the fuck?
Corn Pop says Fire Brett. Yes.
Jesus Christ.
No Control says Freedom Fries aren't free. Well, that's right. I'm sure, but whatever they cost, they were probably cheaper than what you're paying for fries now. That's for sure.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Pete Donovan says, Brett, 2 words, woke nourishment. That's payback for showing us all that cringe video. Yeah. Nourish. Again, I only hate the word nourishing when it's used in context with crunchy nerds on Twitter who are shaming your eating habits. Because that's the only time they use it. It only gets used when you're about to tell somebody that they should drink raw milk and eat beef tallow or something. Shut the fuck up.
I think that beef tallow is actually good.
Beef tallow is fucking amazing.
I mean, no way am I saying they're wrong, but shut the fuck up anyways.
They're wrong about raw milk. Like, you should be able to drink. You should be allowed to drink raw milk. I personally wouldn't.
Yeah,
I would be going. I'm going to go with pasteurized all the time. But you should be able to get raw milk, and you definitely should not have the FDA raid your farm over, like, literally raid your farm with like dudes like response teams like with ARs and kit and stuff, right?
A 3-letter agency you didn't know had a spec ops team.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Or they're telling you about all the food dyes that you're consuming, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. Good for you.
Yeah.
Pusey Slayer says, my girl drives manual, but I taught her stick.
Nice.
Reading the ones that Mary might not read if she was here.
Mary definitely would not read that.
Boys.
I gotta find where we were here. Somebody talk while I look for this. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I'm good. Pete Donovan says, what if the left lane self-identifies as the right? Phil, thoughts?
I don't care what kind of
pit maneuver
BS word games you want to play. The left lane is the left lane, and it's for crime.
If I'm not doing at least 20 over in that lane, I'm going slow.
Dirty Dan Robertson says, hey, Phil, what's more dangerous than running with scissors? Scissoring with the runs.
Oh, gross.
Let's go, potty humor. That was gross. Hey, he paid to say it.
Thank you.
Jewish AF of Christendom says, regular here, love the boys days. Also Phil's too. Also Phil's too. Yeah, boys. DC&C says, Phil, do the voices in your head say Apple?
No.
The voices in my head.
Do they sound like Siri?
No.
No. Rapscallion says, Harrison Ford was a roadie for the Doors in L.A. before becoming a great actor, so I give him respect for his career record as a successful person. Don't care about his views much. Yeah, that's how I feel about most things. Culture Casino, what's up? Says, internal monologue is important, not like a psycho, but more like consciously selecting your actions. You are the main character, right?
You think, like, when you think about especially complex concepts, you think in words, or at least most people think in words. Not saying that there aren't people that, can think in other ways that are actually, incredibly efficient. And I've heard people tell stories of when they think about math, like if they're exceptional at math, like they think about math problems in a different way than just like looking at numbers or whatever. And that works for some people, but most people, when they're trying to relate to other people and discuss things, they think in words, and they think in whatever language is their native language, is the language they think in generally.
Yeah.
And this was all brought up in the context of, I think that there should be Congress should pass a law that says English is the national language, and all of our official documents, anytime you go to the post office, anytime you go anywhere, it's all in English, and people should have to learn English, because when you think in the same language, you can understand the same concepts in the same way. Mm-hmm. And then Tim brought up that language is like an operating system, which is a great analogy.
Yeah,
it
I
really
never thought of it
is
before.
like an operating system. If you don't have the words for something, like there are languages that are I think it's like Polynesian or something in the that comes from like the South Pacific, where they don't have a word for snow. I said Hawaii, which is wrong, because Mauna Kea has snow every year. But the point is, there are places that don't get snow, and the people from those places, when if they're small communities, they don't have a word for snow because they don't need that concept, or at least they didn't develop a word for the snow until they don't understand it until they leave this specific small geographic area. And there's no words for in like Polynesian for like atom or for like quantum mechanics. Like there are ideas that you need to learn a different language, or that some people may need to learn a different language to understand. It's part of the reason why if you're a Muslim, they want you to learn Aramaic so you can understand the Quran in Aramaic, so you can really, really understand the ideas in it. The operating system that you use matters. So I think that it's important. It should be something that the U.S. should do to have a more homogenous idea of what an Americanized, assimilated American is.
All right. Wyatt Kaldenberg says, I watched Friday's IRL last night. My mistake.
Yes. Cheers.
Red Snow says, it shouldn't be, but it do. I don't know what that's in relation to, but he also says...
Sometimes it be
is,
like...
but it do.
He also says, praise be to Space King.
They don't think it'd be like it is, but it do.
Kenny Ramey says, Phil is a Star Wars nerd. And then laugh, laugh, laugh.
I do like Star Wars, yeah.
Tacty Platty says, I train younger colleagues to work like us Gen Xers. Probably a good idea.
Good idea.
Zach Yandel says, at least he didn't call you... okay. Bomber? I don't know what that's in relation to. Red Snow says, Brett, only 80,000 tabs. Me, my brother. Well, yeah, there's way less than that now. I've closed most of them. Shane H. Wilder says, the Commanders culturally appropriated their name from the San Antonio Commanders, Alliance of American Football. Remember the Alamo. Tacty Platty says, Brett, amen to your opinions on crunchies. STF. I mean, I'm being hyperbolic, but, you know, it is what it is. And then we've got Potatoes for Seamus says, where is Mary? When is Mary due? Hi there, Andrew. Hi, Phil. Hi, Brettman.
Hi.
Mary will be back tomorrow. She's not feeling well, but then she's going to be out the rest of the week too because she's traveling. So it's going to be a whole thing all week this week. And plus, we're supposed to get snow here, which is always dangerous on the road. You know, to get to free. I always still call this place the Castle, even though it's not the Castle, because I've only been here for a couple of months.
We'll beat that out of you soon enough.
Eventually, I'll get it right. Shane H. Wilder says, if the left lane identifies as the right, then you aren't in the U.S. and have made a grave mistake. Also, to that Bentley driving 40 in the left lane, F you. I mean, over here, you're not on the... What's weird is, like, it's the road for me to get to work is almost very little freeway. Most of it goes back residential and then side streets and stuff like that. So it's not like you can't pass anyone on those roads anyways. It's a one-lane road.
Yeah.
So Kenny Ramey says math is a language. Also, Olivia said
yes.
Olivia was mad that I said the message about the scissoring. She was like, "Don't say that, Brett. Too late." Potatoes for Samus says, Brett, when are you going to do a Diddy meet and greet? That's not me, man. If you want to do that, you can. But I'm not doing that. Pete Donovan says, first day of my weight loss regimen. Let's go. Make America healthy again. Whenever I see that, is Maha healthy again or hot again? Or is it both?
Both.
And good luck to you, my friend. Hopefully that it goes well for you. And you. The question is, did you do the required photo in the mirror so that you can later take a photo of yourself when you get into really good shape so that you look different? We need to know whether that's true or not. All right. And we will hang out for the rest of it. Corn Pop is still telling everyone that they need to fire me, which is okay. You're allowed your opinion here. BC says Mary is at Taco Bell right now. She could be, but I don't think she should be.
That's possible.
If she's not feeling well, I don't know if that'll
maybe
make her
she's
feel
getting
bad.
Taco Bell DoorDash delivered. That's possible.
That's true.
You know, if you don't feel good, DoorDash is the way.
Yep.
No, I always drag myself out to go grab something because I look at that fee and I'm like, nope, not happening. That's a $30 hamburger.
Olivia says my father could be watching. That's exactly the luck I would have, is that I say something really abhorrent and it's like right when the family tunes in.
The first time ever.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen to me. James Orenthal Wynn, long time, man. Haven't seen you in a while. The right's response to Kendrick's set risk eroding MAGA support from independents, so they should tread carefully. Any wokeness in his set was moot to us for his representation of SoCal gang cities. Okay. All right.
You know,
see, it's
honestly,
I mean, in the wake of winning the election, you know, then everybody has to fight with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's face it.
I mean,
am I wrong?
No.
Feels like everybody's fighting.
Just not in the way they should be.
Pete Donovan says, not yet, but if I do, I'm not sharing it. His photo, yeah. Well, yeah, you can't share that photo until you actually get the photo where you've gotten into the shape you want to. Then you share it. I did laugh at the So I watched this video from this doctor who did like a breakdown of David Dobrik's weight loss journey. And then like David Dobrik had like an ad that came out and like everybody was dunking on it because he's in really good shape. And they said, here's why your face card needs to be rock solid. Because apparently even if you're in really good shape, if your face card is poor, you're still going to get declined.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you know. DCNC says, how's the shoulder, Dasovich? I actually on Saturday skated for the first time in a month and 5 days, and the first thing I did was to go and redo the trick that I fell on, because the best way to get over the yips is to go back and try to once again conquer the thing that you fell on. Granted, I didn't actually do it in the way that you had to, because the trick I did was not actually super dangerous. The problem was when I did it initially, I did it with a 360 camera, and it's very hard to do tricks while you're holding a monopod and a camera. But I did not take that risk this time around. I just did it and set up the camera regularly. So it wasn't actually super risky, but it was still a mental thing to commit to it after doing so, you know, after getting hurt the month before when I literally heard my shoulder crunch. But I've got most of the motion back and I can like sleep on that side now, which is better, which made me feel like, crappy for going to the doctor. I mean, I know it's probably the right thing to do, but after if you saw the photo this summer where I bent my pinky the wrong way, I went to the doctor, but then didn't do the follow-up with physical therapy, which means now I just now can make a fist after it happened in July. And this is not a fist where I would be able to like if I got in a fight and I punched wrong and clipped the pinky, it would immediately re-damage it. So I should have gone to physical therapy, but I didn't. But I went to the orthopedic doctor this time around, and they said, you're doing fine. Just, you know, try to regain movement slowly.
Well, with the shoulder, I mean, like, I'd rather go to the doctor over a shoulder than like my hand, because the shoulder, like a tear in your rotator cuff fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I mean, the problem is like your dexterity in your hands is also very, very important. So
yeah.
I've broken all my fingers at least once. So
I've broken my right arm 3 times.
Oof. Zach Yandel says, Bomber is a very hungry dwarf. Pete Donovan says, I'm never sharing the before photo at all. See, the thing is, you might feel different once if you actually go through a transformation, you might want to share it. Show the progress.
Yeah.
Phil, our cleric and barbarian, had their child. Says Tacti Platty.
I don't.
Said that to you. I don't know whether
I'm not in any way a D&D character.
Okay. Shane H. Weiler says, so who's ready for Milo tonight on IRL? Yes, who is ready for that?
Milo's not. Apparently he's going to be late.
He's going to be a little bit late. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel? If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, I very much thank you all for joining us today. And Andrew, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Where can they find you?
They can find me on X only at @A_Mingst. Have fun spelling my last name.
Phil.
I don't really want you to find me. I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. New record dropped on January 31st. Go take a listen. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon Music, Deezer. I think that's all of them. And don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime.
All right. BC says Brett wouldn't crop out Dean Cain. Yeah, Dean Cain. Yeah, that was bullshit that official DC account took a picture with all the Supermans and then cropped out Dean Cain. That was Cain. That was bullshit. Bullshit. Shane H. Weiler says Tacti's talking about Bertman. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Potatoes for Seamus says Brett, justice for Mocha, the Butter Queen. There will be no justice for Mocha here today, guys. If you would like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch the show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It helps the show a lot if you rate and review. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Couple more here. DCNC says, we're going to find you, Phil. And then the Manic Mustache says, boys. That's it, guys. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. Stay tuned for a post-credit crisis party. See you tomorrow. Later, everyone. I didn't forget you guys. We'll be back tomorrow.